got a secret. You know, the biggest mistake that business owners, coaches, and consultants make when creating their own marketing video, talking head, face to camera, much like this, it's boring. And today, we're going to learn how to fix that. Hi, friends, and thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Carrie Barrett. We have a lot to talk about today. We are talking about how to create video that is effective and compelling and make sure that you are driving inbound leads on autopilot. Now, many of us have sort of dipped our big toe into the pool of video content creation only to be shocked by how cold it is or how hot it is or how many sharks came to attack our toes, and we jumped right out again, and we only sporadically walk up to the edge of video content creation. That is a huge mistake. I get it. It is absolutely, if you're not familiar with how to do it, a scary place to be. But if you're not going all in with some guidance and direction and a little bit of help to make it less painful and less time consuming, you are leaving so much opportunity on the table. Video has an amazing ROI, a share rate that is 1,200% greater than any other type of content, an email click-through rate that is 300% greater, a 92% greater purchase intent. All of these things come from video. So if you're creating video that doesn't stand out, you are being drowned by all of the noise that is out there in the digital world, and you are leaving money on the table. But you do not have to be a technical savant. You do not have to have gobs of time, and you do not have to be Meryl Streep or Daniel Day-Lewis to be effective and compelling on camera. There are three elements of video. They are the content, they are the delivery, and they are the editing. Great video gets them right. Not great video, boring video gets them wrong. And if you get them wrong, your video is not going to be watched. There's too much other great stuff out there. The opposite of good video is not bad video. It's off, meaning it's actually turned off. People have scrolled by it or they've stopped watching. So how do you use those three elements to create effective, compelling, standout video that generates all these leads and puts all this money back on the table? Well, number one is the content. So let's talk about that a little bit first. You may say, well, Carrie, I work in an inherently dry or boring industry, and I'm not painting with a broad brush here, but I'm painting with a broad brush here. It's typically, people say, I find this in two categories. Well, I work in insurance, or I work in finance, and maybe legal sometimes even. It's sort of boring stuff, and I'm limited in what I can say as well. My advice to you is to shuck that way of thinking. Your content, your area of expertise is exactly what somebody who needs financial help, an insurance agent, legal help, exactly what that person wants to hear and needs to know. So if you are creating content around your ideal client's pain points, whether it's tips, tricks, 5 things to be on the lookout for when you're signing an insurance policy or hiring a legal team or growing a solo practice, if you're talking directly to that person, they are going to find it interesting, at least the content. You may not because you see it every day, but from the outside, if you can create a quick win for somebody who is watching your content, you are well on your way to establishing and going further into that customer journey of know, like, trust. Now, the second component is now you've got all this great stuff to talk about. How the heck do you talk about it? That's where the delivery component of your message comes in. And it can be challenging. The key is, even if there are heck, millions of people that are watching your video, you're always talking to one person. You have one person in mind that is either a specific person in your sort of ideal avatar, your ideal client list, or you're envisioning them and you're talking to that one person. I am talking to you about creating video for your business. You want the person on the other end of the lens to feel like you're reaching through and speaking directly to them. I am talking to you, and I'm really glad that you're watching this. So looking at the camera is a key component of that. It is tempting to look anywhere else but in the camera, but you've got to make that eye contact. It feels artificial. I understand that, but there's no two ways around it. If you're on camera and you're not looking into the lens, you are missing a huge opportunity to connect with your person. Hand down, the biggest mistake people make. Second biggest mistake is, if appropriate, not starting that video with a smile. I started the video with a smile. I'm talking about mistakes, but I started the video with a smile. Now, the other part is just the actual delivery of the words. And there are some performative skills that go along with that. And when I say performative, I don't want you to think that I'm talking about being artificial or inauthentic. I liken talking on camera to being on a stage in a stadium with tens of thousands of people around you and countless distractions. And the person sitting in the back row is half a mile away from you. You are going to talk on that stage in a much different way, hopefully, than you would if you're sitting in a small, quiet conference room and the person to whom you are speaking is sitting 3 feet away from you. That's what being performative on camera is all about. It's understanding the challenges or the obstacles that being on camera presents and overcoming them by using skills that you have to communicate. Because the camera takes 3D and turns it into 2D, it has a way of tamping down on the energy and enthusiasm with which we speak. And here's a quick trick to ramp things up. You almost have to be over the top in order to just look normal when you're on camera. And for most people, that usually falls at about a 25% increase in their energy level. So what does that mean? How does that translate? Imagine this. You're sitting in a crowded, noisy restaurant at a long table, and you're 3 feet, or 3 people rather, down from the person with whom you're trying to talk. And so if you're trying to get their attention amidst all of this noise and movement, you are likely doing a couple of things. You are speaking more loudly, your projection, right? You are amplifying the way that you're using your facial expressions and your hand gestures in order to emphasize what you're talking about. You know, there's these 3 things I just learned the other day. Blah, 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 1, 2, 3. And you are exaggerating almost your facial expressions. When you talk to the camera, that's how you should be talking. A little louder, little more quick, amplified facial expressions, nonverbals, and hand gestures. That is your delivery. Now, the third part is editing. And there are a couple of different elements that go into editing. Number one, you need to make sure that you have transcriptions. You should always have a title so that if people are scrolling, if they're watching this on social, they know what it is that you're going to be teaching them or talking to them about. But one of the key components that people forget when it comes to editing is that they launch into this long sort of meet and greet networking logistical setup when they're starting a video. This isn't a meet and greet. You need to come out of the gate with information, jump right into the value that you're offering. And when you say editing, what I mean by that is, don't be sitting silently for even a second before you start to talk. When I edit videos, I actually like to edit them to the millisecond of the frame where the sound is coming out of my mouth, because there is no lag time that way. We used to hear that it took 8 seconds for you to get someone's attention. And if you hadn't done it in 8 seconds, they were moving on. That study was done a long time ago. pre-pandemic, certainly way before that also. And it didn't take into account the way people are consuming content, video specifically now. Now you've got just a little more than a second. They say 1.25 seconds actually to get someone's attention. So if you aren't talking already, if there's not sound coming out of your mouth or action happening in that first second, you are out. Your editing needs to be tight. It needs to be concise, and it needs to grab people's attention as soon as they scroll by. If you found that content helpful, and I sure hope that you did, thank you for watching clear through to the end. Check out the link in the comments below. I have a free resource that will dive into the 5 mistakes that business owners make when they're creating video content and how to fix them to drive inbound leads on autopilot.